So in today's video, we're finally installing lowering springs to my Focus RS. So Whiteline have been kind enough to send me a set of these out, and all I can say is the quality on these is second to none. Even the colour. I mean, the silver, I didn't think they'd be silver, but at the end of the day, that really does fit in. So with the Whiteline set of springs, the rear lowers 30mm and the front lowers 15. And if you guys have seen in my previous videos, I've complained so much about how bad the fitment is on the rear. It's definitely not far off this anyways. So we're starting on the rear of the car because if we lower the front and then jack it up, you'll probably guess the front splitter is going to scrape. I'm probably going to have that issue anyways because I'm running the TRC V1, but in a couple weeks my forged carbon one will come and then it won't be a problem at all. And on the Mark III RS, the rears are so much easier than the front. All you have to do is drop maybe 2 or 3 bolts on each side, and then it's as simple as pulling the spring out and just slotting the new one in. However, that's a completely different story for the front. The whole strut needs to come out, you've got the adaptive suspension, and it will be a real pain. So starting on the rear is a wise choice, so let me show you how it works. So as you can see here, we've got the car jacked up. You can see the nice forged carbon diffuser, but there's a few bolts underneath, and once they're undone, it simply lowers the spring and it's a simple straight replacement. I'll show you once we've got it out, because let's not bore you with the technical side of things. You guys really honestly just want to see it finished. Just for a heads up, the bolt we're removing is this one just here, and then there's another one located just around here which you can then drop. Now for comparison's sake, you can see on my dad's RS just how big the gap is. For some reason his was already lower than mine, even though it's on standard suspension, maybe more miles, I don't know, but when I finally put mine on and it's finished, you're going to see how low that gap gets, and it is going to look good. As you just saw there, the rear didn't want to come out, so we're just getting a pry bar on it now, and then it should just fall out basically. So as you can see, we've got the rear one out. It was as simple as using one bolt, lowering the rear axle, and the spring just dropped straight out. So just for size comparison, as you can see here, it doesn't look like a huge difference, but trust me, when these are on the car, this is going to make a massive, massive change. Because when you think about it, like I said, on the dad's RS, the gap's quite big, and his has done more miles, so they probably compressed a little more than what mine was in the car. But this, from the visible eye, it probably isn't much, but think about it, these are already compressed a little bit, and these are literally factory fresh. So let's get one side on, we'll do the other, lower it, and I'll show you roughly what it's looking. But we just need to remember, it does still need to settle. So let's get into it. So as you can see, the left side is finally on. This literally took about 10 minutes. One bolt, as I said, straight out, straight back in. But can we just realize how nice the Whiteline lowering springs compare to the original? If I walk around and I show you, it is night and day difference. As you can see, standard there, Whiteline here, that is just an absolutely fantastic change. So if we just go back underneath again, can show you, it's this one bolt here that needs to come out, then you lower the arm, replace the spring like for like, and just put the bolt back in. Now a lot of people are going to tell me to get an alignment. Of course I know this, it probably does need to be done, especially if it is going big power in July, but we'll get around to that eventually, because like I say, it isn't going to be a massive difference, but it will, you will probably feel it. And just like that, both rear springs are installed. So if we look underneath, nice and tidy, nice and tidy. So all we have to do now is take it off the axle stands, get it lowered, well, drop to the floor, and you'll see this gap slowly disappear. Like I say, do remember that this gap obviously will close a bit more over time because the springs need to settle, but for now, let's get it down and we'll see exactly how it looks. So there we have it. As you can see, the gap looks even bigger at the minute, but it will slowly drop and the 30mm lowering at the rear will come into effect. But let's get onto the fronts, and then over time, this will go down. So it's still not settled just yet, but as you can see, the gap is getting smaller and smaller. Oh, let's just knock over my number plates. code KD10 at checkout. I hold my plate, by the way. But anyways, as you can see, that is slowly getting lower and lower. Well, it was about the same as the front with jack in there already, but that is getting smaller as we speak. The front is a much more painful process, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to show you of this, because it is going to be a lot more fiddly, a lot more time consuming. So if you don't see anything, then I'll apologise now, but if you do, enjoy the following clips and we'll get back to it once it's all done. So when you're doing the fronts, just a side note, make sure you do unplug your adaptive suspension. There's a little, not junction box, but a little box where it sits. Once you unclip it, you can then remove the wire, feed it down with the strut, and it all comes out as one piece. Now this is, like I said about 10 seconds ago, this is a pain. It's not easy, so if you don't really know what you're doing, like myself, make sure you get someone in to help you, because it could be a costly mistake if you don't fit this correctly. So big thank you to Darren here anyways. So as you can see, we finally got this undone. What we ended up doing was pulling it out of its actual clipping just here. It's held in by 2 clips just like this, and then you can see underneath where the clip actually unfolds this way. It's like a flap, and then what you can do, you can just take the electrical part out of the housing unit, and then once you pull the strut down, this will just feed through with the rest of it, but then you just have to wire it back up once you put the new spring on. So it's fiddly, but it is definitely doable. So what we're doing now is just removing the front wheel. So have you guys ever seen a slammed RS? I mean, it isn't exactly slammed due to it just being at the front, but as you can see, the arch gap is basically gone. And if it's sat like that, once the springs are absolutely fully broken in, that'll be great. It probably won't, because of course it's all slanted, but it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna have a much better fitment anyway. So however it does look, we're not gonna complain, because White Line have the best quality product. So really quality over lowering, but 30 mils enough and that'll do. Quick side note, I have just realised the mic hasn't been on the whole time, so apologies in advance, but hopefully it sounds a bit better now. So the problem we're having at the minute is that basically there's a little, don't know how to explain it, there's a little, where the bolt goes through the back of the strut, it's not wide enough, so we can't actually get the tower out itself. So what we're doing is just trying to widen that a little bit to the point where we can still close it up, and then we can pull the tower down and actually get the strut out itself. It is slowly coming out. And would you look at that, the tower is out with the wiring, nothing broken and everything. Well, so far it's gone pretty straightforward. Touch wood, it stays the same for the other side, but as you can see, we're finally out and we can look at swapping the spring over. Always remember to use your spring compressors, otherwise if we didn't, that car probably wouldn't have a rear windscreen. It's a little bit of size comparison once again. There's definitely not going to be much in it, but once it settles, as I said before, it's going to definitely change the front end, and I'm going to scrape on everything, but once we get the custom diffuser, well, front splitter will be perfectly fine. So now it's time to put them back together. So finally got the front spring on without clamping it, because we didn't want to scratch it. So now just got to struggle and do the fight to get it back in. So after about another 15 or so minutes, we have finally got the front spring in. Looks miles better over the original one. The silver just stands out so much more than the black. When the wheel's on, you're not necessarily going to see it, but it's just nice to know you've got a bit of a better product in there as well. So once we get the wheel back on, do the top of the tower bolts up, rewire this. Once we've done them up, we can drop it, get the other side done and see how the car is actually going to sit. For time perspective, so far we started just after 7 o'clock and it's now knocking on the door 9. So nearly 2 hours to do the rears and one front. So maybe within the next 45 minutes we'll have the other side done and then we can see the final product. So we've only gone and found a now in the tyre, so let's see if we pull this out and it just goes completely flat. We'll plug it if it works because it's in a safe place. Let's see how deep it really is. Can we just appreciate how shiny the tyre walls are as well? That's a big massive thank you to Gtechniq for sending them products out, of course. So it has decided it wants to come out. Only a small one, but definitely over time that could cause some damage. So we'll plug that, maybe, and get it back on the car. So we're just going to check if it is blowing, spray some WD. Looks all right to me. So now just get the wheel back on the car and start the other side. What I'm really looking forward to see on this is, now this has been sitting for quite a while, how low this really is going to be. Especially over time when you drive it a little bit, well, when I drive it a little bit, it's going to settle even more, but it isn't going to be looking like this anymore, and it's going to be miles better. So we've just took the axle stand out underneath, and now we're going to slowly lower it. And of course, it's still going to sit higher than standard probably. But once it settles, we'll see the final product at the end of the video. So now we've lowered it. The front is probably actually higher than the rear because this side isn't done yet. But for comparison's sake, once again, because we just want to show how good these springs are. On the standard one, just about 3 fingers. On my one, you could fit 3. These are worn a little bit, so comfortably can fit 3 fingers in. Now, with this not even being settled as of yet, definitely can't fit 3, just about fit 2. It's a comfortable one. So the arch gap is miles better. And on the front, because this was just jacked, obviously you can still fit more. So once this is lowered as well, it's going to still have that rake that the RS originally has, and it is going to look fantastic. Whether I can actually get off my driveway or not is another story, but you can only give it a go eventually. So here's how we're currently sitting on this side. Both are done, but this side isn't settled and that side has been jacked up. So it still looks a bit like a monster truck, but not as bad as it used to be. So I've said this multiple times, probably haven't showed you much of the installation, but I'm so far impressed with how the springs are sitting, and if they continue to lower, I'm gonna be a very happy man. So big shout out to Whiteline once again. So we're now at a halfway point on the driver's side as well. Tower is out. All we have to do is put the spring compressors on, take the spring off, and load it all back up. So the next update you guys are gonna get is probably us lowering it on the floor, and then maybe in this video I'll take it for a drive and we can see how low it actually becomes. So we're finally thereabouts. All we have to do is put the wheel back on because all of the rest of the car is done up. It's all nice and tidy at the top. Both sides are finished. And like I say, once the wheel's on, we'll lower it and show you exactly how it looks. So for now, just enjoy the time lapse of us actually getting it on the ground. So there we have it, the car is actually on the floor. So this side, since it's been jacked up, is still gonna be a little bit higher. But if we actually walk round to the other side, now check that. That fitment, wow, perfect. Any lower, and I think it could get a little bit ridiculous, but that is absolutely amazing. Of course, it's still gonna lower a tiny bit, but that, very impressive. And the rears, of course, that still needs to lower a little bit. What we could do is jump on the back, maybe. We could just push down on it a little bit, but that obviously isn't going to do anything. So we'll load it up, we'll take it for a quick drive, and then once it's lowered fully, I'll show you the full transformation. But so far, very, very impressed. So I've just gone for a little road test and it's settled a little bit more, still more to settle, but no knocks, no bangs, all fitted perfectly. But I just thought before I get in the road and I show you it properly, just how close this is on the front end. When that actually settles, that is gonna be paper thin. So once these cars have gone, let me just step out and have a look at that. That is super low, and it's probably gonna go even lower, but I can still use more of an angle, and that will eventually be a bit better fitment. If I go more towards this way, that'll be so much better. But let me get it in the road and I can show you it properly. So the car is finally complete, and I thought I'd just get it in the road to show you the fitment. That is head and shoulders above any other spring on the market, in my opinion. If you look at a gap here, perfect. Look at a gap on the front, perfect, and it just sits so much better than factory. That is absolutely fantastic. Whiteline, big shout out to you guys for engineering a product like this. It is sensational. And it probably sounds like I'm glazing to the moon, but that is absolutely spot on. I couldn't have asked for anything more. Look, I'm just gonna keep showing you because it's that good. Just look at the fitment. There's still natural rake on the front end of the car, so it's still engineered similar to the front. Of course, it's still due to drop a little bit more, but we don't look like we're on monster truck fitment no more, and the car is just sitting absolutely perfect. I can't use another word other than perfect. It really is good. So, I'm gonna wrap up the video here. I'm gonna take it for a little bit more of a drive and see if it lowers any more. But if you guys are interested in a set of springs like this, make sure you head over to Whiteline. Their link will be in the description. If you have an RS, I'll put the link to the RS product. But any cars they can factor in. You have a Vauxhall, you have a Ford, you have a Porsche, Lamborghini, whatever you're driving, when you watch this video, head over, get yourself a set of springs because they will be the best of the best. And if you're watching this video, you're clearly like me, you definitely want the best for your car as well. So like I say, head over, link in this description, and in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget, like, share, all of that jazz, because we're growing, not even 100 subscribers yet. And yeah, so until the next video, drive safe and make sure you subscribe. See you later.